Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine stumbling upon, profound wisdom in the most unexpected of places. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a fascinating ancient text. It starts really simply, just a request for lodging, but it quickly unfolds into this meticulous examination of, well, what it means to be human.
It's truly remarkable, isn't it? This text, the Dhātuvibhaṅgasuttaṃ, the analysis of elements, it offers complete framework for understanding our very being. Starts from the most fundamental components, but it's all wrapped within this really captivating story.
Yeah, exactly. So our mission today is to uncover that surprising story behind the teaching, and then quite literally break down the self into its core components. You might find it offers a whole new lens for understanding yourself, a kind of shortcut, maybe?
Could be. It's a very direct approach.
So our story kicks off with the Buddha. He's referred to as Bhagava or Gautama in the text. He's traveling through the ancient kingdom of Magadha. He gets to the city of Rajagaha, and, well, evening's drawing in. He's looking for a place to stay.
Right. Standard procedure for a wandering renunciant.
So he approaches a potter, a guy named Bhagavava, and politely asks, if he might find shelter for the night in his residence.
And Bhagava, the potter, he agrees. But there's this small condition. He basically says it's fine if the first renunciant who's already lodging there consents.
Okay, so there's someone else already there.
Yes. And as it turns out, that renunciant is a young man named Pukkusāti. And he has specifically left his home life precisely to follow the Buddha. He's already settled in the potter's shed.
Wow. Okay, so the stage is set, and this is where it gets really captivating, I think. The Buddha, not revealing who he is, just walks up to Pukkusāti and asks him, basically, friend, or avuso, as the text says, if it's not inconvenient, can I stay here tonight?
And Pukkusāti, completely unaware. He has no idea. He's speaking to the very teacher he reveres. He just readily agrees, says something like, the potter's shed is spacious, plenty of room.
The dramatic irony is just, it's thick, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They both spend the entire night there, side by side, in deep meditation, neither knowing who the other is, just two meditators sharing a space.
Incredible.
And then the Buddha, he's impressed by Pukkusāti's serene vibe, his demeanor. So he eventually asks him, who's your teacher? Whose dharma, whose teaching do you approve of?
And Pukkusāti.
Pukkusāti responds by praising Gautama, the Buddha, listing all his noble titles. Iti piso Bhagava Arahan Samasambuddho. The formula. Declares him as his teacher. But then he says straight up, I've never actually seen him. I wouldn't even recognize him if I saw him.
That's quite something.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What does it mean to follow a teacher you've never met?
Yeah.
To be inspired just by their reputation, dedicate your life based on essentially hearsay.
It's a powerful point, that dedication based purely on the teaching's reputation. So how does the sutta bridge that from this sort of conceptual inspiration to the actual teaching?
Well, this is the moment. The Buddha realizes, this person is my follower.
Yeah.
He then decides, okay, it's time. He reveals himself.
Oh, wow. Imagine Pukkusāti's reaction.
Overwhelmed. Absolutely. He finally recognizes him. And the Buddha then just invites him, says, listen carefully. I'm going to teach you something.
Okay, so Pukkusāti is now fully present, fully receptive. The Buddha starts the core teaching. And it's this unique way of looking at ourselves, isn't it? As comprised of 6 fundamental elements. It might be a new framework for a lot of people.
That's right. This is the analysis of the 6 elements, the Chādhatu. And they are earth, that's the hard, solid quality. Water, cohesion, fluidity. Fire, heat, transformation. Then wind, motion. Air. Space openings, cavities within. And finally, consciousness, viññāta, just awareness, the act of knowing.
And he gets really specific about the physical ones, right? The internal and external aspects.
Yeah, incredibly specific, yes.
Like for Earth, internally, it's not just bones. It's hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, organs like the heart, liver, kidneys, even down to feces. Everything's solid.
Exactly. And externally, it's all the solid matter out there in the world.
Yeah.
Mountains, rocks, soil.
And then water. Internally, all the fluids. Bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, saliva, snot, urine, joint fluid.
All of it. And externally, oceans, rivers, lakes.
Fire, internally, is what heats the body. It's aging, decay, digestion. The metabolic processes, basically.
Right. And externally, it's literal fire, the sun's heat.
Wind, that's movement. Inside, it's upward winds, downward winds, winds in the gut, breathing in and out.
And outside, it's the wind that blows.
And space internally, the holes, ear holes, nostrils, mouth opening, the space where food stays in the stomach or intestines where it exists.
All the cavities. And externally, just open space itself.
So it covers everything, physical existence, inside and out.
Pretty much. But here's the crucial insight. He repeats this for every single element, internal or external. He says, this is not mine, I am not this is not myself. Okay,
that's the core refrain. Not mine, not I, not myself.
Exactly. And the purpose here, it isn't about like denying you exist or anything nihilistic. It's about seeing these things for what they are, just elements. They arise due to conditions, they change, they pass away. They aren't some permanent, inherent self that you need to grab onto and identify with. It's about developing dispassion, letting go of that clinging.
That's a truly radical idea, especially for many of us today. If my body, my physical form, isn't mine or me, practically, how does that change how you'd experience, say, getting older or getting sick?
Well, it potentially reframes the whole experience of suffering. If you see pain just as an unpleasant feeling arising within the body element, which is not me, rather than I am in pain.
Okay. It creates a bit of distance.
A crucial distance. It allows for greater equanimity. The pain is still felt, the sensation is there, but the identification with it, the poor me story around it, can lessen or even dissolve. You see it as an impersonal process.
So it's a shift in perception triggered by this elemental analysis. Okay, so we have the elements. How do they connect to our actual moment-to-moment experience, our senses?
Good question. The Buddha then explains the Chafasayatana, the six sense spheres. These are the bases, the doors, through which we contact the world. You have the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body for touch, and the mind, which contacts thoughts and ideas.
Right, the six senses. And from there?
From there, contact happens. Eye meets form, ear meets sound, mind meets thought, and so on. And this contact inevitably leads to feeling, Vedana. And the Buddha explains this through the Asarasamanapavikara. That's the 18 mental explorations.
Okay, how does that work?
It's simple maths, really. You have six senses, right?
Yep.
And any contact through any of those senses can lead to 1 to 3 types of feeling. Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral.
6 times 3, 19. Got it.
Exactly. So you see a beautiful sunset, pleasant feeling via the eye. You hear drilling next door, unpleasant feeling via the ear. You feel the air temperature, maybe neutral feeling via the body. Your mind is constantly engaging in these explorations based on sensory input.
So our whole subjective reality is built on this interaction. Elements, sense doors, contact, feeling.
That's the picture he paints. It emphasizes how interconnected and, importantly, conditioned our experience is. It's not random. It arises based on these factors.
Okay. So after laying out this detailed map of self and experience, where does he take Pukkusāti next? Towards a solution, presumably.
Yes, toward the path. He introduces 4 foundational principles, or maybe stands is a better word. They are wisdom, panya, truth, saka, relinquishment, kega, and peace, upasama.
Wisdom, truth, relinquishment, peace.
And the advice is direct. One should not neglect wisdom, should guard truth, should cultivate relinquishment, and should train specifically for peace. This is the active practice part.
And consciousness, that 6th element, plays a key role here.
A central role. Vinyadhatu. It's described as what knows the feelings, the pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral ones. But crucially, it's also shown as conditioned and impermanent. He uses this really vivid analogy.
Oh, yeah, the fire stick.
That's the one. Fire arises from rubbing 2 sticks together. Separate the sticks, the friction stops, the fire ceases. Similarly, feeling arises dependent on contact through the senses. When that contact ceases, the feeling also ceases. Consciousness arises dependent on conditions.
So it's not some permanent soul or observer, it's more like a process.
Exactly, a dependent process. And understanding this leads toward equanimity, upika, which isn't dullness. It's described as this pure, clear, pliable, workable, radiant state of mind that remains when the push and pull of liking and disliking subsides.
He uses another analogy for that, right? The goldsmith.
Yes, a beautiful one. A skilled goldsmith takes rough gold, puts it in the furnace, melts it down, removes the impurities again and again, until the gold is refined, pure, soft, workable, luminous, ready to be made into any fine ornament.
So equanimity is like that refined gold.
Precisely. Purified through understanding and practice, it becomes this stable, workable base for the mind. And from that refined state, one can direct the mind towards higher meditative attainments, like the formless spheres, infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception.
That goldsmith analogy really makes you think, doesn't it? How often do we settle for, like, a rough nugget of calm instead of really refining that equanimity? What stops us?
That's a great point. Often I think it's misunderstanding what equanimity is. People mistake it for indifference, like a cold detachment or apathy. But true upaka is intensely aware, perfectly balanced, seeing reality clearly without being swayed. It's warm, in a sense, not cold. The refinement comes from wisdom, seeing the impermanence, the conditioned nature, even of pleasant states or deep meditation.
Right, because even those higher states, the Buddha says, are still conditioned,
Ex-
samkata.
Yes, that's crucial. They are still part of the conditioned world, still impermanent, still not the final goal. They arise due to causes and conditions.
So the ultimate path isn't about creating a specific state, even a blissful one, but about stopping the creation process itself.
You've got it.
Yeah.
It leads to not conditioning or intending for future becoming, wanting to be something, or non-becoming, wanting to annihilate something, letting go of that push and pull entirely, and that leads to non-clinging, non-trembling,
Yeah.
and ultimately nibbana, liberation.
And this ties back to the feelings: pleasant, unpleasant, neutral.
Absolutely. The ultimate understanding is to see all three types of feeling as impermanent, not worth clinging to, not worth getting worked up about, not worth identifying with. They're experienced, yes, but with detachment visayuto, the text says disjoined. And then as the body breaks down at death, life ends, all those experienced feelings just cool down.
Sitipavi santiti pachanati. He understands they will become cool.
Like the oil lamp analogy.
Exactly. When the oil in the wick run out, the flame simply ceases. There's no more fuel for it. It signifies the complete end of the conditions that give rise to suffering. That image, the lamp going out, it's so final. It really drives home that idea of cessation. It's not just that suffering stops, but the potential for it is gone. What does that imply for, just living everyday life? Can we access some of that coolness now?
I think it implies a kind of radical resilience.
Hmm.
If the fuel, our craving, aversion, our clinging, our identification is understood and gradually relinquished, then peace isn't so dependent on whether things outside are going our way or not. It becomes an inner quality, cultivated by seeing things clearly, element by element, feeling by feeling.
Okay, so connecting all these dots, the highest wisdom is knowing suffering has ended. The highest truth is nibbana itself, the unlying, undeceiving state.
The highest relinquishment, kaga, is the complete abandonment of all those defilements, greed, hate, delusion. They're described as being uprooted like a palm tree stump, gone for good, unable to grow back.
Unable to grow back, that's key.
And the highest peace, upasama, is simply the calming, the cessation of that greed, aversion, and ignorance.
Which brings us back to that idea of I-making.
Exactly. The text is really strong on this. How much suffering comes just from the concept of I am this or I am not that. All forms of I-making, or conceit manieta, whether it's thinking I am not, I will be, I won't be, I'll have form, I'll be formless. All of it. It's called a disease, a boil, a barb. These are not pleasant images. They point to how this very notion afflicts us.
A disease, a boil, a barb. If we see our constant I-making that way as an illness, how does that change how we approach, ourselves?
It flips the script, doesn't it? Instead of trying to build up a better, stronger, more successful I, the focus shifts to dismantling the very mechanism that causes the agitation. If the act of I-making is the barb, then peace comes when you remove it. So the ultimate state, the sage, the muni, is called at peace, precisely when all that I-making has ceased.
And that sage is described how?
As someone who is not born, meaning no more rebirth, does not age, does not jai, does not waver or get agitated, and does not yearn or crave. It's this profound stability that comes from truly seeing through the illusion of a fixed self.
Okay, let's loop back to Pukkusāti. The teaching ends. What happens?
Well, after this incredibly profound teaching, Pukkusāti finally recognizes the Buddha. It clicks. He prostrates, pays respects, and apologizes profusely for calling him friend or avuso earlier, addressing him so informally.
And the Buddha's response?
Very gracious. He accepts the apology, basically saying that recognizing a fault and making amends is how we grow in this teaching and discipline.
So Pukkusāti asks for ordination, to become a monk.
Yes, he's deeply moved, wants to go forth fully, but there's a practical issue. He doesn't have the requisites, the robes and bowl, so he leaves the potter's shed to go find some.
And then the tragedy.
Yes, it's quite abrupt in the text. While he's out looking for these requisites, he's attacked and killed by a stray cow.
Just like that, after receiving this incredible teaching.
Just like that. Later, some other monks come to the Buddha, tell him what happened, and they ask the crucial question. Pukkusāti died. What was his rebirth? What's his destination?
And the Buddha's verdict.
This is really a powerful moment. Despite the sudden death, despite not getting formally ordained or practicing for years, the Buddha declares that Pukkusāti was wise, Petito. He practiced in accordance with the Dharma. He had already, through the insight gained from that teaching, eliminated the 5 lower fetters, the main obstacles to liberation.
The 5 lower fetters. That's self-view, doubt, clinging to rites and rituals, sensual desire, and ill will.
Those are the ones. By breaking those, the Buddha says Pukkusāti was an upapadiko, spontaneously reborn in a high heavenly realm, a pure abode. And from there, he would attain final nibbana, never returning to this world, a non-returner.
Wow. So even without the full monastic life, the depth of his understanding from that single teaching was enough for that high attainment?
It speaks volumes, doesn't it? About the immediate, transformative power of deep insight, of truly understanding this analysis of elements and letting go of self. Pukkusāti's brief encounter had profound results.
So wrapping this up, what does this whole deep dive mean for us? We started in this humble potter's shed.
A chance encounter.
Yeah, and from that, we've unpacked this ancient masterclass on self-analysis, breaking down our existence into these elements, understanding how we experience everything through senses and feelings, and seeing this path to letting go, to liberation from suffering.
I think the key takeaways are really potent. The impersonal nature of these elements we call self, the impermanence of absolutely everything we experience, especially feelings, and the profound peace that's possible when we stop that constant eye-making, when we relinquish the attachments. Pukkusāti's story really shows it's not just theory, it's a practical guide. Understanding can transform our inner world, leading to a peace that, as the text suggests, even transcends death itself.
It really does. So this deep dive leaves us, and you listening, with maybe a powerful question to reflect on. If our bodies are, in a way, just this collection of elements, earth, water, fire, wind, space, and our experiences, our feelings are so fleeting, constantly changing, what does that really mean for how you define you in your day-to-day life? How might seeing yourself, even just experimenting with seeing yourself as these constituent parts, how might that shift your perspective on identity, on what you cling to, and maybe even on what well-being truly means?